president's house that they want an AN-32 aircraft. There were few members of the family who were also along with them. And after the follow-up, there was an AN-32 aircraft which was provided to him. The rest of the detail could be there with the immigration officers. But in the meanwhile, since these protesters know that once the president steps down, Ranil Wickremesinghe can become the president of Sri Lanka. That's why these protesters have come here. And they are in large number. There are thousands of more who are, still coming and marching to this location. Let's see what is going to be the next target. What they have told us that they want to, attack the residence of Ranil Wickremesinghe. That is quite clearly, observed among what they are saying it on the ground. Although it's a leaderless crowd, so there's certainly uncertainty which always prevails in the leaderless crowd. There's no leader who is present here. This is what the police chiefs have also told it 2 times now, that they are waiting and see what is going to happen next.
They're getting us a view of what is going on in Sri Lanka. He's in the capital, Colombo, at this point in time. Remember, there have been protesters who have taken to the streets for several days now. In fact, the presidential palace has also been occupied by protesters as well. But this is now after Gotabaya has fled Sri Lanka just a short while back with the help of the Air Force. And now, of course, there has still been no official resignation. Let's go back to Priyank.
Prime Minister's position. Ranil Wickremesinghe was a normal member of parliament. He was handpicked by Gotabaya and he had a good image although. But since he has been picked by Gotabaya Rajapaksa, there's much of the anger which is prevailing. If you look at the statement which came up from the Prime Minister's residence and office early in the day, they were talking about that how the President House had demanded that the President wanted to leave the country and Air Force aircraft was also provided to him. That was a message which was given so that the people can understand that Ranil Wickremesinghe is still present here. He is still the Prime Minister of the country. And once the Gotabaya steps down, which is expected to happen later in the day, we exactly don't know that whether this will happen today or not. Ranil Wickremesinghe can sworn in as the new president, as an interim president till the time next president comes into picture, which is expected to happen on 20th of this month. So barely 1 week ahead of that, the angry protesters are certainly not agreeing to any kind of demand. We are yet to get a confirmation from the Speaker's House that actually there is, whether they have actually agreed for this kind of movement which is being expected to happen in the Parliament. Because the Speaker has the power as of now. He can form a coalition government which can be comprises of opposition party as well as a member of the ruling party, SLPP. If you talk about the dynamics and the number of game, SLPP has around 125 members of the parliament. The opposition party has 68, which include the party of Sajid Premdasa and others. But there is no anti-defection law in the constitution of Sri Lanka. So this is very much possible that most of 40 to 45 MPs from the SLPP may join this particular coalition government, which is expected to happen. So if the protester does not want Ranil Wickremesinghe to be the next president of Sri Lanka, they are left with only two options. One is the Speaker of the House and second is Sajid Premdasa, the leader of opposition. But before that could be actually decided by the Parliament of Sri Lanka, you can see the massive anger on the streets.
Well, so you can see the situation in Colombo. There is a lot of unrest on the street. Security has also been stepped up. In fact, military has also been brought in, is what we understand. But remember, this happening after Gotabaya Rajapaksa flees the country. Anger spilling out onto the streets of Colombo. Cops and protesters faced off as well. Mob is marching towards PM Wickremesinghe's residence is what's happening at this point in time. So you can see what's happening there in Colombo right now. Remember, it's an extremely dire situation and no sight of how it is going to further go down at this point in time with regard to the situation in Sri Lanka right now. And those are the live visuals that we are getting you on your screens. You can see how the military has been brought in, the security has been stepped up, people are on the streets, people are angry over the way things have gone down. Back to Priyank now.
राजपक्षा परिवार के लोग हैं वो ये देश ना छोड़ छोड़े, क्योंकि गोटाबाया राजपक्षा ने डिसाइड किया था कि आने वाली 13 तारीख जो कि आज है, वो यहाँ के राष्ट्रपति के पद से इस्तीफा दे देंगे। अब ऐसे हालात में जो जहां सुप्रीम कोर्ट ये भी निर्णय ले सकता था कि गोटाबाया राजपक्षा को उनके पद से निकाल दिया जाए, और वैसे हालात में गोटाबाया राजपक्षा के लिए काफी ज्यादा मुश्किलें हो जाती देश छोड़ने के लिए, क्योंकि इमिग्रेशन के जो ऑफिसर्स है, जो सिल्क पैसेज जो कि वीवीआईपी को दिया जाता है, वहां पे भी उनके भाई बेसिल राजपक्षा जो यहाँ के पूर्व वित्त मंत्री थे, उनको भी रोक दिया गया था। तो गोटाबाया को यह बिल्कुल पता था यहाँ के राष्ट्रपति को कि वो किसी भी लीगल चैनल से यहाँ से बाहर जाने में कामयाब नहीं होंगे अगर वो राष्ट्रपति पद से इस्तीफा दे देंगे। टाइम्स नेटवर्क ने कल रात तकरीबन 8:30 बजे एक खबर ब्रेक की थी कि ने अपोजिशन के लीडर्स को एक प्रपोजल भेजा है कि वो उसी हालात में इस्तीफा देंगे अगर उनको और उनके परिवार के सारे सदस्य को यहां से निकालने के लिए अनुमति दी जाए। बहरहाल जब अपोजिशन के लीडर्स ने इस बारे में कुछ भी सुनने से मना कर दिया, उन्होंने बोला कि पब्लिक का गुस्सा बहुत ज्यादा है, हम इस पूरे मामले में अभी कोई भी निर्णय नहीं ले सकते हैं। ऐसे हालात में गोटाबाया राजपक्षा ने कल जो एयरफोर्स चीफ है, जिनसे हमने बात की, आप उनका रिएक्शन भी हम अपने दर्शकों को सुना सकते हैं, उनके पास एक रिक्वेस्ट जाती है सेक्रेटरी ऑफिस जो कि यहाँ के राष्ट्रपति का है कि उनको AN-32 जो एयरफोर्स का जहाज है वो दिया जाए। सो पहले तो वो नेवल बेस में भागे थे, जो अपने घर के पीछे के रास्ते से नेवी के शिप में वो यहाँ से भागने में कामयाब हो गए थे। उसके बाद वो वापस श्रीलंका आए, कोलंबो आए, और यहाँ से उन्होंने एयरफोर्स का AN-32 लिया और सुबह तकरीबन 2:30 से 3 बजे के करीब वो माले पहुंच गए, जो मालदीव्स की राजधानी है। लेकिन अभी गेम खत्म नहीं हुआ है, क्योंकि गोटाबाया के जो सोर्सेज हैं जो हमें बता रहे हैं, उनके अनुसार वो तब तक इस्तीफा नहीं देंगे जब तक वो अपने फाइनल डेस्टिनेशन पे नहीं पहुंच जाते हैं। तो किसी को नहीं पता है कि गोटाबाया आखिरकार जाना कहां चाहते हैं, लेकिन चूंकि गोटाबाया अब देश छोड़ चुके हैं, ये आधिकारिक रूप से पुष्टि हो चुकी है कि वो देश से जा चुके हैं, उनके पास डुअल सिटीजनशिप है, वो यूएसए की भी सिटीजनशिप है, जिन्हें पूर्व राष्ट्रपति ने अपने भाई को बुला लिया था। अब ऐसे हालात में रणनील विक्रमसिंघे जो यहाँ के प्रधानमंत्री हैं, वही यहाँ के राष्ट्रपति बन सकते हैं इंटरिम रूप से, यानी फॉर अ टाइम पीरियड, कुछ दिनों के लिए वो बन सकते हैं। लेकिन देश की जनता को उस बात पे भी भरोसा नहीं है, इसीलिए लोग या हजारों की संख्या में आ चुके हैं। पंकज, एक बार वापस से आप तस्वीरों में दिखाएं हमें दर्शकों को कि किस तरीके से हजारों की तादाद में लोग यहाँ पे आके इकट्ठा हो चुके हैं। ये कॉलेज है थर्सन कॉलेज, थर्सन कॉलेज जो कोलंबो 7 में है, यहाँ पे आके रुक चुके हैं ये लोग, और ये कोशिश करेंगे कि यहाँ से अब आगे जाकर के रणनील विक्रमसिंघे के घर जाए। हालांकि वो अपने घर पे मौजूद नहीं है, लेकिन गुस्सा कहीं ना कहीं निकलता है, इसीलिए इससे पहले हमने देखा राष्ट्रपति भवन और प्रधानमंत्री आवास में भी हुआ। अब ये लोग रणनील विक्रमसिंघे के प्राइवेट घर में जाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं।
Well, that was the latest ground report that Priyank was getting us from Colombo at this point in time. Protests, unrelenting protests going on as far as Colombo is concerned, at least with people out on the streets. Remember, people have been demanding this, the resignation of the president, which has not happened as yet. President has, in fact, fled the country of Sri Lanka. And in fact, as per what sources say, that only once he reaches his final destination will he put down his resignation. So that is what the situation is at this point in time. There was a face-off as well between cops and protesters. Priyank is back with us.
सजित प्रेमदासा की पार्टी है और बाकी जो छोटी छोटी पार्टियां हैं, जैसे तमिलियन पार्टीज भी हैं जिनका डोमिनेंस जाफना की तरफ है, जहां पे तमिलियन मूल के भारतीय लोग रहते हैं और काफी सालों से वहां श्रीलंका में रह रहे हैं। आपको पता है कि श्रीलंका में जाफना में कितने साल, 30 साल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट चला। वहां से भी जो मेंबर पार्लियामेंट्स आते हैं, उनका भी समर्थन ऑपोजिशन पार्टी की जो यूनियन है उसको है, जिसके नेता हैं सजित प्रेमदासा। उनकी पार्टी के लोगों का मानना है, जो मुजबिर रहमान जो एक नेता हैं ऑपोजिशन पार्टी के, उनका कहना है कि तकरीबन 40 से 45 SLPP के जो मेंबर पार्लियामेंटेरियंस हैं वो भी अब उनकी तरफ आ चुके हैं, क्योंकि यहाँ पे कोई भी एंटी डिफेक्शन लॉ नहीं है। बहरहाल हम तस्वीर में आपको वापस दिखाना चाहेंगे। वापस से लोग कोशिश कर रहे हैं आगे जाने की, लेकिन कुछ जो भीड़ की अगुवाई कर रहे हैं, दोज leaders of this crowd who are trying to, those volunteers are certainly trying to tell the crowd to stop here. So they have stopped after 7 kilometers of walk, chase, tear shells being fired on them, batons on being used on them, the human chain which was formed by the police officials in Colombo. They have broken all and they have come here. There's a message which is being given from the makeshift stage of that person.